Hi, welcome to one more episode of Zindagi Ka Safar. And when you're talking about Zindagi Ka Safar, I think one aspect which will be there specifically in my life was when I became a father. So I had become a father of a child long back. It will be around 22, 23 years back. And when she was growing up and all, I used to wonder the what kind of education should I give? How should I make that? How should she be as a person? And this girl who came and joined our batch, I remember when I was teaching in 1997, and I always used to be quite fascinated by her because she was full of energy. She was always ready to participate in any kind of extracurricular activities, and she was always the topper of the batch. So if I recollect correctly, she was the topper in the marketing field. That's what she has chosen, and I'm very fortunate. I used to always keep on watching her, and I think she also used to come and tell me a lot of things, saying that "Sir, ye ho gaya, wo ho gaya," kind of thing, which is there. And uh, when I looked back and got in touch with her again, I saw that she has become very good and doing very well for herself. Today, she is joining all the way from New Jersey. And let me welcome Reshma Khan, who is joining us on the Zindagi Ka Safar. To welcome Reshma to this particular show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I'm honored by your words. I'm so happy to be here and so happy to connect with you after such a long time. बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है. Thank you.
चलो जी बहुत बढ़िया. So though I was saying that I um, was quite fascinated by what she will be doing, and I was very sure that she will be, and I think all the faculty members were very sure she will do very well. We'll try to figure out what she has done in her Zindagi Ka Safar till now. So Reshma, बताइए थोड़ा सा about your Zindagi Ka Safar. How was that journey all the way from Madras to all the way to USA, or in this particular case, you're based in New Jersey?
Ji. Thank you, sir. I was born in Chennai, very much a Chennai girl, lived in the suburbs. I had a very fun childhood, went to an all-girls Catholic school in
Oh.
India. So proud of being a part of this school called Rosary Metric.
Hmm.
Uske baad went to an all-girls Islamic women's college. So
Okay.
as you can see, very insulated and, not a lot of diversity, but just being in these. So जब मुझे टैपमी में admission मिला, so it was like a breakthrough for me. I was like, wow, I get to leave home and, it's exciting. मेरे पास ज़्यादा कोई work experience नहीं था.
हाँ.
In my undergrad, I was actually a TV anchor. उसके बारे में
Oh.
मैं आपको बाद में बताऊंगी.
Okay.
So when I got to TAPME, it was TAPME, which is an MBA institute in Manipal, highly ranked among the top 15 schools at the time. I was
Hmm.
so excited. This was for me for the taking. And for me, I will also share my impressions of being with you. You were like the young professors among all the professors, so we could come and just chill out with you and talk to you and say some things. And I think that jab aapki baby just hui thi, and so we could easily relate to you, and you could relate to us. So thank you for being that guide and mentor for us in school at TAPME. TAPME ke baad many doors opened for me. I was
Hmm.
very blessed. I was campus recruited by Wipro.
Wow.
At the
Hmm.
time, Wipro and Infosys were the two leading IT organizations in India.
Yeah.
So I went to work for Wipro. I worked in Chennai and Bangalore, and I had
Hmm.
a great career there. I was one of only three sales women, three salespeople among. This was a male bastion, right? I was doing sales.
Yeah.
And हम लोग एक बहुत स्पेशलाइज टाइप ऑफ कंप्यूटर बेच रहे थे. वी वर सेलिंग मल्टीमीडिया कंप्यूटर्स. ओ
Wow.
कंप्यूटर में माइक आता है, कंप्यूटर में कैमरा है, वाओ कंप्यूटर में स्पीकर्स है. So I worked on several deals. It was very exciting. While I
Hmm.
was at Wipro, I met someone else who had moved to the US, and he had a company that was doing consulting services, technology consulting.
Hmm.
So here I was thinking, Wipro में तो अच्छा चल रहा है. Let me go
Hmm.
and try in the US. जाके एक दो साल में तो वापस आना है, कौन सी बड़ी बात है. And Wipro was very kind. They said, anytime you want to come back, you can.
Hmm.
So I moved to the US thinking that
Ah.
I'm going to come back in 2, 3 years. I never wanted to leave my parents. My parents were my top priority.
Hmm.
22 years later, I'm here. So as you can imagine, that's destiny.
Yeah.
US में भी मेरा career track, I'm blessed, काफी अच्छा रहा है. I came here and I worked for many corporate American companies, as well as
Hmm.
I was able to go back to grad school here. I did not want to do an MBA. But once you're in the US, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. If you have a foreign degree, it doesn't mean much. You need to be branded with an American university. So I took the GMAT here again, and I went to a school called Northwestern University. It's also a top-ranked university in the US. I did a program in marketing communications.
How long
Again,
was the program for?
It was 15-month program.
15
It's a hybrid program between the journalism school at Northwestern University and the business school, Kellogg, which is the one most people know. And that was a fascinating program, really amazing. It opened a lot of doors for me, heavy data analytics. From there, I had 3 job offers, so I could actually pick where I wanted to be. And I moved to the East Coast, which is New York, New Jersey, taking a job with a consulting company, which is part of an ad agency called Young and Rubicam. After that, I worked for American Express and Amazon. And after having done all this in corporate America, I said, let me pursue another passion of mine, which was consulting on my own. So I started my own consulting practice. The last 5-6 years, this is what I have been doing. Today, I'm a branding consultant. I work with professionals to help them brand themselves for their career. So as a career consultant, but I also work with companies helping startups go public. I work in the technology space, 5G, artificial intelligence. I do a lot of B2B marketing for them. So that's my story. Kind of long-winded, but I hope you got the idea. Zindagi Ka Safar.
Zindagi Ka Safar through the corporate lens is what we have seen. So we'll get little bit more into the other parts which is there. But there are few very interesting questions which is coming to mind once I have heard this. So now, for example, as you said, you were initially in an all Catholic girls' school, and then you moved into a all Muslim girls' school, and then TAPMI in a way might be like a mini India, which was there. Now, since you have been from the inside, do you feel that when you're looking at a educational institution and they are coming with a particular religion, ideology, does it impact education in any particular way for the students per se? Or is it just someone has promoted, it's just a Christian community has promoted, or Muslim, or maybe Hindu, or whatever? Does it make any difference?
That's a great question, sir. I'm glad you asked me. India में रहने का advantage ये है कि you are in the lap of diversity. So we were a middle class family, and we were the only Muslim family in a neighborhood where we didn't have a lot of people like us. But we thrived there. We celebrated Diwali, we celebrated Christmas, we celebrated Pongal. I know Tamil, I can read and write Tamil, I speak Tamil very well. And when I was studying at Manipal, I picked up Kannada also. We had friends from all over. When I did my undergrad at the college, even though it's a Muslim college, about 65 to 70% of it was, other people. So pretty diverse in that way, even though it's ideology based. So I would say my personal experience was the diversity actually shaped me. And that's how I am here too. In the US, I have been very lucky. I have friends from all over the world. And we travel a lot, and as a family, we love 2 things, reading and traveling. We love those things. So when we travel, we meet people from all over. So I think traveling also opens the horizons of your brain.
Quite a lot. Yes. I will definitely agree on that. In a similar way, I, for example, have studied, my school was an all boys school. And post that I did my engineering. So there were a few girls who were there in our batch, but very few, like maybe one person or maybe a couple of them and all. And then for a long time, when I worked for a couple of years before I came to MBA at TAPMI, again, it was all workers, because now someone tells me, and I don't think it, I have noticed that ladies were not allowed within the campus. I was in Reliance Industry. So someone told me recently saying that my father was there. I could never get into in the campus of Reliance Industry. So then I looked back and I said, I think, maybe it's true. I don't remember any colleague who was a lady and all. Now, when we are into all for a very long period of time dealing with only, let's say, in my case, only it was boys or men. In your case, it was girls. So did you feel it in any way hampered your interaction with other people? Did you feel little cautious about, or maybe little worried about interacting with maybe the opposite sex individuals?
Sure. So ये बताने के लिए sir, I'll have to tell you a story.
Definitely, please go ahead.
When I was born, there was
हाँ,
actually disappointment in the house.
लड़का वो नहीं
Because
हुआ क्या?
जी हाँ, लड़का नहीं हुआ,
लड़का नहीं
exactly.
हुआ. Okay.
I was the third of three girls.
Okay.
And my parents were under a lot of pressure from the whole family के इस बार जरूर लड़का होगा, इस बार जरूर लड़का होगा. My dad was listening to some cricket commentary on the transistor, and when the news came that it's a girl, he was kind of like, "Zara chonk get hai." I mean, don't get me wrong, my
Yeah,
parents love me, adore me, but the moment this happened, it was a little bit of a mixed reaction, you know. However, they channeled that into an amazing energy almost. They kept telling us, and I also have a brother. He came after me. So my parents got lucky with the rest of the family. My parents always taught me that don't think you're a girl, so you have to, be limited in any way. You are equal to boys. You're even better. You guys have to be independent. So यही values उन्होंने हमें instill किया कि nothing should stop you. So even though I was in an all-girls school, I used to go for debates and elocution, and I used to run a lot of fashion shows and cultural events. So I was always interacting with others. Same with the college days also, school and college. लेकिन it's true, MBA में आने के बाद is when I actually had an experience of having a male colleague in the group. And I was able to appreciate how different we are in the way we think, in the way we act. जो भी girl students थे, हमारी batch में 10 या 12 students थी, and out of a batch of 100, right?
Yeah.
All of us girls would be very studious and like, let's write down, tomorrow we meet at 4 o'clock in the library. ये due है. Boys रहते थे, बिंदास आते थे, यार मैं भूल गया, and but then last minute they would catch up because of course you're in an MBA school, you have to deliver. So stylistically, we are built differently. I also believe, and I have 3 daughters now.
Yeah.
I also believe that girls are born tough, and you just need to nurture them to be leaders. And sometimes in our society, whether it's in India or the US, there's a general feeling that, she's a girl, act like a girl. No, I say act like a man, but be a girl. Girls come stronger. One of my favorite quotes with my daughters is act like a pineapple, stand tall, be sweet, and wear a crown. Yani, be strong because don't feel you are in any way that you have to take a step back.
Okay. So
long-winded answer to your question.
Yeah, but our podcast is all about that. So we are looking at Zindagi, we are looking at different aspects of Zindagi, and some of these cannot be rushed through. So definitely please take your time in responding to any of my, because these are some curiosity which is coming from, because you have left such a varied life which is there. So the the next question will be again on, given that you have worked for some time in India and then you spent a long period of time in the US, so do you again see culturally any difference on about how people work? I'm talking about more from the work related. Did you see any difference when people approach work either in India or in US?
Sure. So I worked for only hardly 2 years in India, and I worked for more than 20 years here in the US. So it may not be a fair comparison, but what stands out for me is that in both places, for me, it was all relationships based. In India, it was very natural, right? I was managing first Tamil Nadu as my territory. Then it became more of South India, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, and other places. So it was very easy, for me. I genuinely love people, and you talk in Tamil and you say, "Enna sir, eppadi irkeenga?" and start getting into them and understand their business problems, and then tell them how Wipro can help them. Coming to the US, for me, there was a little bit of a learning curve. And when this company hired me to do business development in the US, that was early 2000. Early 2000, everything was booming here. Y2K. Everyone understands India ko, offshore consulting projects, India mein ja rahe hain, and a lot of companies had budgets. So when I came here, the day I landed, or maybe the next day, they gave me a brand new rental car, and they said, "This is your sales territory. This is what you have to cover." And it was almost like I had to hit the ground running. I had to go for my get my social security card and everything done at the same time. I had to find. I was driving, and I had to meet my clients. Oh, by the way, tomorrow morning you're going to meet this client in Ohio. I'm like, okay, I just got here, so there was a little bit of a learning curve, but thankfully I got over that hump also. And here also it's relationships based. People would see that I really am a genuine person, and taking care of them and taking care of their business deals. The sales comes later. And then 9/11 happened.
Oh.
So that was a major decline for the American economy, as you can imagine. Plus, now I'm a Muslim person, right? Muslim salesperson. This company is wondering, is there going to be racial profiling on her? Is she going to be able to travel freely? And to this day, I have the similar experience like Shah Rukh Khan does. I get randomly picked for a security
because
search.
the surname is Khan.
Exactly. So it's relationships based, and because after 9/11 also the company had to downsize and lay off a lot of salespeople, but I was one of two people standing because I had a good account base and my portfolio was strong. My clients would still reach out to me. They didn't have budgets, but they said, "Hey, guess what? I don't have budgets, but I'll refer you to this XYZ company where you can get business." So I was able to hang on to that. So to me, sales and marketing is all about being relationships and managing interpersonal relations with your clients, because even if you do B2B marketing, ultimately the decision maker is a person.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the traits I have. I connect with people very naturally.
Okay. So for example, if I recollect correctly, that during the time when you were in TAPME, you never used to wear a hijab, but now I see you wearing one. So how did that happen?
Great. I'm glad you asked me that, because I really think the hijab defines me. When I was in India, everything was cool, right? Everybody knows Reshma Khan, you're from this community, etc. But coming to the US, 9/11 happened, and the narrative was very negative around our community. So this was actually for me a very big decision to say, guess what? I'm going to put on the hijab, and I'm actually going to stand out at a time when people are afraid to stand out and show that they are Muslim, because I was showing solidarity with the people around me. A lot of people a lot of my friends tried to talk me out of it, including my family. They said, "Are you sure? You don't have to do this. You may be targeted." Believe me, nothing has happened so far, and I'm sure nothing will happen in the future too, because I always lead with a smile, no matter where I go. Try to be courteous. And putting on the hijab, sir, it's an added responsibility. अब देखिए मैं गाड़ी चला रही हूँ मेरे बच्चों के साथ. If I don't have the hijab, nobody knows who I am, right? But because I have the hijab, if I don't stop at a stop sign, if I'm not courteous and let the other person go, or even in the store, anywhere, I get individually singled out. So it's an added responsibility, but I decided to put it on right after 9/11 to show solidarity and to show that there are people of all kinds.
Yeah.
Don't have to assume that a certain community is of a certain way. There are people who are professional, highly educated, working in corporate America. So much so that, sir, जब मैं American Express की building में काम कर रही थी downtown Manhattan में, New York City में, पूरी building में there are about 45,000 people, and I was the only hijabi there. So yeah, it's been great actually. And a lot of people respect me for that. They come up to me and they tell me, "Oh, I would like to know more about your culture." So it's a conversation starter. I'm able to tell them, why I wear it and what is the tradition of wearing a hijab for women in Islam.
Okay. That's lovely, because I think one, as I think overall in the world, when people start accepting people the way it is, whether it's on the faith, whether on their preferences, which is there, the way we are going to be wearing clothes. So for example, though I see you wearing a hijab, but the remaining attire or the color of your what you're wearing today is going to be very um, I will say from the Western world. So your white and black is definitely very much there. Whereas in India, I think someone can get away with the kind of color which I'm wearing, and no one will give. Will say, yeah, fine. This is this individual choice to wear orange one or red one or green one, whatever we are talking about. Yeah. So I think that's a wonderful stand which you have taken. Um, I think having got a good idea about your where you have studied and about the kind of work which you have done, we'll move to the last segment which is there. And uh, so this segment is basically on Ask Me Anything. But
Okay.
yeah, so but what we are going to be doing is slightly an interesting thing. For the viewers, what you can see at the back of me, some of it's getting blocked, and I will try to move away, is a collage of objects or events which is there, which is very has fond memories of for Reshma. Yeah, because being a my student, so I said, okay, the first thing I'll do is give you an assignment that you need to make a collage for me, and that's what I'm going to be using it. Yeah, and we are going to look at this and try to understand, because these are, according to her, the topmost interest things which are there for her. Yeah. So coming to the first question which we have, okay, what you can see here behind me on the top, there is a small girl who is standing there, and so this is the girl who is now coming here and giving us an interview. So when you're looking at your childhood, because I think that reflects your childhood, tell us some interesting thing, because you have mentioned little bit. What was the most fascinating thing as a small child? So how old were you when this photograph was taken?
In this picture, I was probably 4 or 5 years
4 or
old.
5. Okay.
I was actually at the time studying in kindergarten or
Okay.
upper UKG. Yeah.
Uh,
And
so
so my
yeah,
earliest memories,
yeah,
wow, so many.
yeah.
Um, my favorite thing to do was jab summer vacation hota tha, sir. My parents were both government employees,
Hmm.
so we didn't have a lot of money to travel to
Uh,
places. So what
hmm.
we did was we used to rent a car, and it was, I call it rent a car. There was no rent a car business there.
Hmm.
We had some kind of a deal going with one of the car companies. The cars used to come from Calcutta,
Oh.
go via Chennai or Madras at the time, and
Uh-huh.
go to where my grandparents lived in Kerala.
Oh.
So we used to hop on in Chennai and we would travel by car. ये journey
Oh.
होती थी सर करीब 20-24 घंटे की होती थी.
Ooh.
इसके पूरे journey के दौरान, my dad, mom, me, my siblings, all of us, we used to sing songs.
Oh.
और हम लोग गाते थे पुराने गाने. हम लोग, we were a big, at the time at least, we were a big singing family, right? Dinner होता था dining table पे. After that, my dad starts doing tabla on the table and we all sing. Those are my earliest memories. Enjoying some good mangoes.
Hmm.
Going in the घोड़े की गाड़ी में जाते थे हम लोग. कभी आपा की village, my dad's village में जब जाते थे, तो we used to go by घोड़ा गाड़ी. Really beautiful memories. Very nice childhood in Madras. Just playing bindas, not having any worries or responsibilities.
So what will be your favorite song? Can you sing couple of lines for us?
Sure. Happy to do that. My dad actually is an amazing singer. Unki
Okay.
voice is a lot like Muhammad Rafi. So
Wow. Hmm.
he sings very well. Even now, I was in India. In fact, जो आप तस्वीर देख रहे हैं मेरे parents के साथ, that was taken in January of this year. I was in
Hmm.
Chennai with them to spend a week with them.
Hmm.
And even now, I made him sing, and I
Oh.
recorded on my phone. And one of his favorite songs also
Okay.
happens to be Dilip Ji, may he rest in peace. Dilip
Hmm.
Ji's song, सुहाना सफर और ये मौसम हसी, सुहाना सफर और ये मौसम हसी, हमें डर है हम खो न जाए कहीं. So that is one of our favorite
Madhumati.
songs.
Yeah.
And आपके शो के लिए तो बहुत ही appropriate है,
Apt.
जिंदगी का
Yes.
सफर.
Yeah. Correct.
And then another song which I still hear when I'm driving, etc. अभी ना जाओ छोड़ कर के दिल अभी भरा नहीं.
अभी न जाओ. Wow, क्या बात है. So before we make it into a musical show, and we will take up the next one which is there. So in a same way, because I think you mentioned about your parents and all. So this is another thing which is there, and you have said that this is a photograph which is taken on a last visit to India. And tell us a little bit about your mom, because you have mentioned about your father. Uh,
Sure. Both my parents are my role models. My dad taught us to be very competitive.
hmm.
He worked for the Port Authority of India. He was in Chennai Port Trust. My mom is a very silent achiever. She's a person who has a master's in science, in physics, as well as a master's MPhil in history.
Wow.
So she actually worked in the same women's college where I studied. She worked as a professor, as an assistant lecturer in physics for many, many, many years. And then finally उनका promotion हो गया था. She had also applied, आपको पता है UGC के अब उस वक्त पे बहुत से systems and policies होते थे. I don't know how it is now. She then turned around and taught history.
Oh, okay.
For the last 12 years of her career. So this lady really inspired us. She would be like, so what? You have to be the best, no matter what you do. And आप मेरी mom को मिलेंगे तो बहुत ही calm and quiet, like zen. But we learned how to be very brave from her in the face of challenges, never to give up and to be an achiever. So both my parents, the values that they instilled in us is always about hard work, do it right. My dad had, being a central government employee, my dad had temptations from in so many ways to do things under the table, but he was always very clear. We have to be good citizens. We have to be good Muslims, follow the right thing, always do the right thing, never compromise, and be the best. My dad would say, no matter what job you do, you have to be the best. He used to push us. The math में 98% मिलता था, then we would come and say, जब parents का signature चाहिए होता था, my dad would say, बाकी 2 mark कहाँ गए? जाओ जाके आपकी अम्मी के पास से ले लो signature. So he pushed us, and then my mom was also pretty. They raised us to be very strong individuals, and I think they always felt that they should prepare us to be future citizens, future leaders. And all of us me and my siblings, we are blessed. We are all professionals. We have a doctor, an engineer. I'm in business. My brother is an architect. And today we are a global family. We actually live all over the world. And when we meet up, it's very fun. It's a great reunion.
Okay. I think that wonderful parenting is what definitely got you where you are. And now you have a wonderful family. So I'm just going a little bit out of the screen. So in the middle is you with your 3 lovely princes and your hubby.
Yes.
Now, so where did you meet your hubby? And then tell us about what are the names of your children and how are you managing as a mother dealing with?
Sure. So in December of this year, Arif and I would have been married for almost 20 years, 19 years to be precise. Okay. And this is a man I almost never married. In my 7th grade, I told my friends around me, look, I'm never going to change my last name after getting married, okay? My last name is Khan. It will always be Khan. And as it turns out, Arif's last name is also Khan. Okay. So मैं US में थी, and ये आपके viewers को भी बहुत ही पसंद आएगा. ये RFP के जैसा होता था process. So my mom used to get the resumes from India and send it over to me by email. And कभी photo आती थी, तो dial-up days में you had to wait for the photo to download. So I got Arif's resume and his photograph. And पहले तो मैंने photo reject कर दिया. ये क्या है? He doesn't look like my type. And I had a kind of an impression of whom I want to marry. Then we talked on the phone. He was at the time in Chicago, and I was working here and closer to New York City when I had just moved to the US. He was so polite and so formal and so pleasing. I was like, come on. He's not even real.
With all the adabs and everything, एक दो शायरी वायरी भी बोल दिया होगा, but without making it like sound like a शायरी. So
exactly. And इतने polite थे कि it was almost unreal. ऐसा कोई हो भी सकता है. So I rejected him. I just told my mom, ये काफी immature लगता है. It's like very fake. I wanted to be real. मैं कहीं भी जाती हूँ, I start talking and I take the limelight. He's very like, okay, you can speak. I will listen. So मेरा जो impression था mind में, उसके बिल्कुल opposite था. And हम लोग एक academic family हैं. तो मैंने mom को बताया था कि, look, mom and dad, I know you love me, but I'm never going to marry anyone from a business family. I'm never going to marry anyone from this particular men's college in Chennai because the people from there I know are like not up to par. Yani ke I had so many specifications of my own, But as you can imagine, 19 years later, I'm still married to him and we're happily married. And to this day, he is so formal and polite. Jab ghar aate hain, he opens the door for me. He opens the car door. He always lets me talk wherever we go. He will just listen and stay. But that's just how he is. So to me, the theme there is let go and let God. Sometimes you cannot control everything. You plan everything to the very precise details, but you cannot. And then मेरे daughters का भी यही है कि each of them has a personality of their own. Zahra is 11. She's into reading and she likes pandas.
Wow.
So we have promised her this summer to go to Washington, D.C., which is the only zoo in America where they have the original Chinese pandas. My second daughter, and so Zahra's personality is very different. So my second daughter, Zaina, is going to be 8 next month. And she is into yoga. She's into moving she's very flexible. She tries different poses. Both of them do karate, but Zaina wants to achieve something. And when she grows up, she wants to be a vet. She has my personality, but looks like Arif. And then my third daughter, Zakia, 3 साल की है. मैं ज्यादा उसके बारे में नहीं कह सकती क्योंकि अभी सुबह के 7:30 बजे वो सो रही है. अगर वो सुन लेगी तो फिर उसे गुस्सा हो जाएगा. She's the boss of the house. She's a force of nature, and she's only 3, but she's rules all of us.
So lovely. I think that's a wonderful family which you have got, and by God's grace, all of you are so happy and contented, and let the blessing of God always and the Almighty be always on all of you. That brings me, because I think there are a lot of snaps which are there. So I can see somewhere you are out in the outdoor. There is some campfire which is there. There is some kind of boating which is there, and nature which is there. So tell us, how much of a out outward kind of person are you? Are you into majorly, let's say, as you said, yoga and maybe some other kind of sports also?
Yes, so I've always been a person who loves outdoors. India, maybe we used to go for hikes and mountains and the forests in Tamil Nadu. यहाँ आने के बाद the opportunities are also available for me. So I have taken up a lot of things to do as a passion or as a hobby on the side when I have some free time. One of the things I do is we go on long bike rides. So the picture you're seeing there is we are cycling along the Hudson River, which is the river between New York and New Jersey. We go for camping trips. So the campfire, you learn to live in a very basic way. And every time we come back from the camp, my kids and I, we say, thank God, we are so grateful for electricity, so grateful for air conditioning. And by being in the camp, you really experience what it's like for those who don't have the luxuries that we have. So we give the children also that experience. Another thing which I've found, which I took up here recently, and I just love, is kayaking. So you see the picture of in the lake. It's actually a kayak. It's like a boat with the paddles, and I think आप भी करे रहेंगे कभी.
Yeah, I've done a few times. Lovely experience.
So also other hobbies are gardening. In fact, I wake up, I'm an early riser, so I wake up early before my kids wake up, and then I take that time to do some prayer, reflection, exercise, yoga sometimes working out with weights, and then I go to my garden. So that's how I start the day. It kind of sets a nice tone for the whole day, energizes me in the morning. Off late, and I think we're going to talk about this, the pandemic में काफी challenges आए. A lot of us, we lost our jobs. We also had health issues, not my own family, but we lost a few people, a few of our friends here, as well as people in India. It has been a very challenging time for all of us. For me personally, I had to undergo emergency back surgery.
Yeah, this I think one of the photos is there. Yeah, where you're giving the thumbs up. Yeah.
The downside of being an overachiever. So we lead a very hectic life, as you had asked. We have to stay organized. सबके अलग-अलग schedule होते हैं. 3 बच्चे हैं. कोई भी family members नहीं है. No grandparents or anyone in the house who can supplement and help. We use a babysitter sometimes, but during the pandemic, we didn't have her either. So there was a risk of my spinal cord being damaged. For many years, I had just ignored some back pain, tried chiropractic and yoga and things like that. Just, take an ibuprofen and keep going. So it finally caught up to me, and I needed emergency back surgery. So it was much more serious than I thought it was. Coming from India, I guess, a lot of us, we have very high pain thresholds. We just power through everything. And I was trying to do that. But in this case, it was pretty severe. Anyway, long story short, right before the pandemic and the whole lockdown started for us in the US, which was March 13th, 2020, I had to go for this emergency back surgery. And after that, I actually had to learn how to walk. I was on a walker. And I had to kind of build up my stamina. There were days when, because of one of my legs, I have a semi-permanent nerve damage. So I had to build it up and do a lot of physical therapy for recovery and go into rehab. These were challenging times, I can tell you. News of COVID hitting families, losing a colleague, losing a very close friend, and not being able to even see them and to say goodbye. And at the same time, I'm dealing with pain medication, 3 kids at home. I lost my project. I'm a consultant, so none of my clients were spending money, so didn't have work. All I can say is that you have to persevere. When it's hardest, you have to pray. I pray on everything. I pray a lot and keep the faith that things will get better. But also, you have to do your part. So you have to kind of push yourself through it. You cannot let yourself go into that downward spiral of any kind of negative emotions. So building up from there, now I have to build strength on the leg that was affected. And therefore, I've taken up cardio kickboxing. And kickboxing is not just for, like, wow, she's aggressive, she can box. It's also for building your mental tenacity, learn self-defense. God forbid anyone is in a situation where they have to deal with an encounter, but it teaches you self-defense skills, but also sharpens your brain. And so now I work with a trainer who actually helps me develop that kind of strength. I'm able to walk now. I can do everything. I exercise, jump around with my kids and do everything, thank God. But it came to almost 18 months of, going through swimming, walking, recovery, yoga, stretch, everything, building it step by step.
Okay.
So you have to
you are
sometimes
always
go.
a fighter, and you have shown that you are one here also.
I hope so, sir. I hope to sustain that, because we're not getting any younger every day.
Yeah,
So
true. So this is how I think Zindagi Ka Safar is all about. But I think it will not be over if we don't talk about food. And what you have also put in at the top, I can see a typical South Indian food put on a plantain leaf, and somewhere hidden behind me is um, you are making sushis also. So that's a wide range which you're talking about. So talk about your how good a cook you are, and I am hoping it's not only about eating, but it's also about cooking and feeding others.
Yes. In my earnest desire to learn different cultures, I also get into cuisines. The sapade on the banana leaf, it's called yella sapade, leaf, literally leaf food, yella sapade in Tamil Nadu, in Chennai. Whenever I go to India, I go through my parents' mail and I say, किसके शादी के खताए हैं? Vegetarian है तो मैं चली जाती हूँ क्योंकि मुझे ये खाना बहुत अच्छा लगता है. So that's why I put that there. That's a fond memory of India. When you ask me about hobbies and cooking, yes, I enjoy cooking. यहाँ पे तो हम लोग काफी entertain करते हैं friends को, तो I try new cuisines. During the pandemic, my kids were so bored. They like sushi a lot, Japanese food. And I said, okay, this is a challenge. Let's make authentic Japanese food at home. तो हमने Amazon से सब सामान मंगाया. हर किसी के pandemic में कोई ना कोई नई hobby शुरू हो गई थी. हमारी शुरू हो गई थी sushi making. काफी मजा आया, और the truth is restaurant से भी अच्छा sushi घर में बनता है. Fresh taste होता है. And the kind of fish you use and the raw ingredients you use and the vegetables. We make a lot of vegetarian sushi also. So it was fun. Anytime, sir, you're in New Jersey, welcome to our place to have a.
Now that I'm getting very tempted. For a Bengali guy who has spoken about fish, and though I had sushi couple of times, and it was a good experiment, is what I will say, because and I had it in Tokyo itself. So
Great.
I'm hoping it's, though you had it in a restaurant, but I think I will definitely want to try it out when you make it for us.
sure.
Okay,
Anytime.
that was a wonderful thing. So here we have a person, and to tell you that what I had started talking about that as a young father, I was wondering what it is. So my daughter now for the last 2 years, and her first job she has started in Wipro. Look at the
Wow.
coincidence. So that's what I think. Law of attraction, or what you think is what happens. So in a way, I thought my daughter will be something like Reshma, whom I knew at that point in time, and I observed her for 2 years. I said, this is the kind of person my daughter should be. At least one part she has done. I don't know about the sushi thing. She can make Maggi noodles and all, so that's where she has moved. Okay, so we'll try to figure that out. This particular podcast will definitely make her see and at least say कि भाई खाना तो बनाना सीख लो if nothing else. But having said that, I think it was such a wonderful journey which you have, and there's so much motivating for I think everyone which is there. So you have gone about creating your own story and given all odds, you make them sound as if it was quite nice and smooth. But I'm very definite that you would have got lots of obstacles which you have overcome with the same smile which you are having now. And I wish you, your family, and everyone all the best. And thanks for taking time out for this particular wonderful chat we had.
That's great. Thank you, sir. I know if young people, especially like your daughter, are watching this, um, I would like to leave them with this. The one thing that motivates me is I heard this long ago. खुद को कर बुलंद इतना कि रब खुद बंदे से पूछे बता तेरी रजा क्या है. That is, you work so hard and you
Hmm.
show, you come through with your determination and your perseverance, and
Yeah.
even God will ask the
What do
banda,
you want? What do you
what
want?
do you want? So there is no substitute for hard work, and success breeds success. Yes, there will be challenges in life, but you always
Yeah.
have to be content and focus on what you have rather than what you don't have.
Hmm.
And then you will come through, and you have to have faith in the process, faith in yourself, and confidence that you can achieve it. So I think that's what keeps me going. And see, after so many years, I get to hear these nice words from you, from one of my professors. It makes me so nice, and think back at my TAPME days when all of my classmates carried me through the program, because I came there as a fresher without any work experience.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
then when I ended up at Wipro, I had, I was able to present myself in good light. So starting with Director Sir and all of the faculty at TAPME, even now I'm in touch with the faculty and met with them. A couple of years ago, I was at one of the TAPME meetings in Bangalore.
Wow.
So it's been an honor and so nice to be on your show. Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye then. Bye bye.
Thank you.